That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I hope that all worked out okay. Late start tonight, busy day, busy as always. Busy day at work too, just craziness today. But we're here, we're live, we're going to do plenty of comic reviewing tonight. While I'm waiting for people to show up, just talk a little bit about what's planned for the next few coming days. I will be doing a live show on Free Comic Book Day. I'll show what I got. I might grab a figure if there's something on sale or something like that. So keep an eye out for that on Saturday. What is that? The 5th? Yeah, the 5th. I'll be doing another live stream then. The next episode of Comic Book Club, the votes are in for that, and we'll be discussing Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. So I hope to see people there. For those that don't know what the Comic Book Club is, it's not quite the alliteration that you need. For those that don't know what the Comic Book Club is, it's a book club where anyone who has a legal copy of the book can join. All you need is a pair of headphones and a microphone, and you can come on the Comic Book Club and join and talk with us. That will be taking place on May 19th, 2018 at 2 p.m. That's a Saturday for those that need to look up that information. We'll be talking about Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. So if you have a copy of this that you bought or got from the library, got online, whatever you did to get it, as long as you got a legal copy of it, feel free to join and share your thoughts on the latest edition in the DC Earth 1 line. And, of course, keep an eye out for other voting videos on the Comic Book Club. There's plenty of stuff coming as a monthly show. I think that'll do it for preamble and announcement stuff. We do have a decent-sized week, so I really do want to get right into it. Let's go ahead and go over what we'll be discussing today. We'll be starting out with DC Nation number 0. Harley Quinn Loves the Joker number 1. Bombshells United number 17, Captain America number 701, Action Comics Special number 1, Batman number 46. That is the order in which we'll be discussing things. And then for Trade Talk tonight, we have JLA 1 million. So, should be a good time, and I am certainly excited. I hope you are excited watching right now. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with DC Nation number 0. So this is the big event thing. It's like the big preview that's setting up a bunch of things happening in the books. I liked 2/3 of it, and that 2/3 that I liked makes me worried about the third that I didn't like. So we got 3 stories here, one by Tom King, one by Brian Michael Bendis, and one by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson. This is a Batman story, a Superman story, and a Justice League story. Wonder Woman gets no love. Anyway. And this is just a preview of coming attractions. Is this set under Joker's feet? What? What does the Kuma Ranger say in the web comments? Is this set under Joker's feet? I don't know. So the first story by Tom King and Clay Mann is called Your Big Day, and it's just the creepiest fucking thing of the Joker waiting with a guy in his house for the mail to come. Because the Joker's heard that Batman's getting married, and he wants to make sure he has his invitation. And he's just really creepily sitting here and waiting with the guy and kind of, mentally tormenting him about what's going to happen to him and all this stuff. And Clay Mann draws some fucking horrifying Joker. Thank you for my nightmares, Clay Mann. So this just sets up that Joker's going to do something at Catwoman and Batman's wedding. It does raise questions about Joker knowing Batman's secret identity, but I think that bridge has kind of been burnt with Scott Snyder was it Death of the Family? So, I think we're kind of over that point. Overall, though, I really do like this story. It's a great, just creepy, scary Joker story. Tom King does something with the Joker, which is really, really fun for me to read, because I've done something similar when I wrote the Joker. And that's that he has him tell jokes, which is, like, really refreshing, because Scott Snyder wrote a bunch of Joker stories, and I thought he did a very poor job, because the Joker was never funny in any of them, really. And so for the Joker to be hilarious is really enjoyable. It's in a very twisted context, but I quite like this. The joke that really got me. Hey Roger, did you hear with the one about the letter that didn't have a stamp? No? You wouldn't get it. Oh man, that's too good. So yeah, that was a really solid story. I really liked it. Tom King is able to write the Joker. Cool. And then we have this Superman story written by Brian Michael Bendis, and it's kind of exactly what you'd expect from Brian Michael Bendis writing Superman in the honest way, wherein it's just a lot of dialogue. It's very dialogue heavy, and it's kind of all centered around the Daily Planet newsroom and Perry White, demanding stories, and there's some kind of mystery as to what's happened with Lois Lane that we don't really know. Meanwhile, a new reporter has been hired, and she seems to have some kind of evil plan to take over the Daily Planet. So, whatever that might be, who knows? But it is a very dialogue-heavy style Bendis book. So, that's just what you're getting. Man, they did not do a great job on the production of these. Either that or I got a pretty bad one. So yeah, that's kind of setting up the premise for Man of Steel, and I'm excited enough. Bendis, I wish that was the story that was in Action Comics 1000, because the one we got just didn't wow me all that much, and I am reasonably sure it's just a excerpt from one of his Man of Steel books. That felt like it was genuinely supposed to be a preview, and it just worked a lot better. And then we have this Justice League story written by 3 writers. Apparently the Justice League's been split up into 3 teams, and they're willing to work with their enemies. You have Batman working with Lobo, Deathstroke, and Lex Luthor. You have Superman working with Martian Manhunter, Starfire, Starro, and Sinestro. And you have Wonder Woman working with Zatanna, Dr. Fate, Raven, and Etrigan. And then you have Cyborg working with Damian, the Atom, the Flash, and Harley Quinn. And I'm just like, okay. Those are very odd team things, and it's being written by all these different writers. The thing is, this is supposed to lead into the Justice League books, right? I think? I don't really know. This is just a prelude to No Justice, which is another, I guess, Scott Snyder-led event for the Justice League. Fine, whatever. I'm still planning to pick up Justice League Dark and Justice League Odyssey, but I ain't committing long-term to those just because I like the premise, so... We'll see how it goes when we get there, I guess, is kind of the attitude I've got right now. But that's the story. That's what happened. 2 of them were good. One of them was very big. I mean, I should give it some kind of compliment here. I like the way this is formatted, because we start with these Brainiac robots interrogating Batman about where the Justice League is, and then we cut to 3 separate teams. And so you get this big splash page with Batman's team, and he asks Superman how things are going. So you get this one panel of Superman saying, Well, then you get this big splash page of Superman's team, and he asks how Wonder Woman's doing, and Wonder Woman's like, almost there. And you get like a page of Wonder Woman's team, which, I don't know, whatever. And then you get a page, she asks Cyborg what's going on, he gets one panel, and then you get a page of Cyborg, and then it goes back to Batman. So, I don't know, that's a cool way to format things. And then we're back on Earth with Supergirl and Green Arrow, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So overall, it's just okay. I'm not, like, amazed by it or anything, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Alright. And I imagine DC Nation number 0 is probably going to be one of those big, like, free comic book day books for a lot of people. I'm hoping for more proper standalone stories, but we'll see when we get there. Alright. Let's go ahead and go on to Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn Loves the Joker, number 1. I don't think I've ever liked Harley Quinn in the comics that much. Just as a prelude, I just do not think that she's written with a very good, consistent voice in the comics most of the time. I tend to find her just pretty directionless. Like, no one quite knows what to do with Harley Quinn most of the time, or if they do know what to do, I don't like it. So that's disappointing. But I saw this. I saw Paul Dini's name on it. He is her creator. Maybe he knows what he's doing here. I mean, it's certainly not bad. It stands on its own. Like, you don't have to know anything about Harley Quinn's book right now, or really anything about Harley Quinn besides she's the Joker's girlfriend and was a psychiatrist. Which I feel is pretty general knowledge. So you don't need to know all that much about anything to get this. It's just, I don't know. I'm less than impressed, I guess, is all it comes down to. It's certainly not bad, but it's certainly not terribly interesting. I've never liked the way Paul Dini has written the Joker, to be honest with you. And so Joker isn't written spectacularly here. Harley's written pretty well. I like this. Someone throws her out of a building. She has to gymnastic her way to the ground. And she says, you know, sometimes it's awful hard staying friends with you guys, to the people that threw her out of the building. Yeah, that's kind of funny. That kind of, like, slight chuckle out of me. Harley has an outfit change here that I don't know makes a ton of sense, but I guess I'll give it to you. Overall, I don't know, this is kind of a silly issue, and I just, unless people really ask for it, I'm not picking up the next, I'll put it that way. Just ultimately, it's just another one of those things where I'm like, what can I say about it? Uninspired, not interesting. If you're a huge Harley Quinn fan, you probably already got it. If you're not, I wouldn't recommend this as a starting place or anything close to it for a Harley Quinn book. For a good take on the character. Her creator writing it or not. So, yep, that's kind of just where I am. Okay. Very Joker-heavy week this week, oddly. So we go ahead and move on to Bombshells United, number 17. I love Bombshells. This is a cool-ass issue. I feel like I missed, like, 3 issues. I don't know what happened, but I feel like I missed 3 issues. Because, as far as I knew, the last issue ended with Granny Goodness there, and Apocalypse had just appeared in the skies above Earth. This we are just knee deep in it, y'all. Like proper alien invasion. It's craziness right now, guys. It's just like, it's not like they just started coming down. It's like it's been prolonged. The way it's written, it's like they've been dealing with it for at least a while. Like it opens with a radio broadcast talking about like all the things the All American Newsreel has broadcast about. Now we bring you updates from the front, from every front, and from the Bombshells fighting the good fight. War from beyond the stars. The spaceship called Apocalypse has appeared in orbit above the helpless Earth. Our world, sundered and divided, now stands ripe for plunder from forces beyond our imagining. Criminal Kryptonian exiles led by General Zod bring the Reich to a roadblock. So much for your master race, Jerry. In Zamzi, Queen Vixen, the one true desert fox, leads with her Princess Paramour, Hawkgirl. Together, they join forces with the staunch and steadfast stowaway strategist Renee Montoya to fend off Thanagarian gladiators from the Apocalyptian Armada. Actually, this is easier to read in an old-timey radio voice. Good on you, Margaret Bennett. Good on you. In Berlin, the Queen of Kabbalistic Cabaret, Joker's daughter, emerges from her abysmal seclusion as parademons fill the skies. What do they want? And who can save us? From the year of invasion by the Queen above the white. So, like, we just skipped a whole year in one issue, and I was not ready for that. Like, in the slightest. It's kind of a cool move, though, that just gives you, like, the... You know, I've been reviewing Grant Morrison's Justice League, and it is, in a lot of ways, it does feel like the Rock of Ages storyline, where Aquaman just shows up at the beginning of one issue in the middle of an Earth dominated by Darkseid, and it becomes like a whole time travel thing, and it was just part of a smaller story, or more contained story. Let me put it that way. It just became a part of it. So that's, you know, I think it works. You kind of get all the players, you get where everyone is and what's going on, and we start to get characters introduced again, or not introduced. We're starting to get, you know, a feel for what these characters are doing as the Joker's daughter makes her final play, bargaining with the king beneath the black to call forth the third and final servant in the form of the Joker. So it's a very Joker-heavy week this week on comic reviews. The Bombshells have a floating blimp base now, and we've got a Flash now on the Bombshells. And I really like her look. I think it's supposed to be Jesse Quick, which is cool as shit. I really like her look. Notice, of course, the roller skates. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, lots of cool stuff happening, though. It kind of works all together. The Joker explains himself. The Joker's daughter was the last of my house of cards, last of my cult, brings me back. Every generation, a Joker was meant to be chosen, a vessel of chaos. This body was chosen. So, like, he's a vessel of chaos and anarchy? Like, magically, I guess? I don't really know. It's just kind of cool. That's just kind of where I'm at. It's just like, yeah, this works. This is just a lot. And it's a lot to kind of come at you. So I'm definitely going to have to sit down and reread some Bombshells at a certain point, because there's just, like, everything in the kitchen sink in this issue. Fucking Parallax? Parallax has shown up. You know, I've been wanting to read Margaret Bennett doing some sci-fi stuff, and she just kind of went balls to the wall on it. Like, look at this. Parallax just shows up randomly on a page, and then the Amazons show up on the next page to fight against him. And, like, it's not like they just come out of nowhere. They do set up that Steve Trevor is off somewhere doing something, and it turns out to be getting the Amazons. And then we're left with, like, the cliffhanger ending, which is pretty scary moment, as Steve Trevor seems to be injured or possibly even killed by Parallax. So I'm all in on this. This is just, wow, like a million things just happened at once, and it's cool as shit. This is a truly epic scale of a story, so I'm super hyped, man. I am super hyped up for this. All right, let's go ahead and move along to Captain America number 701. Mark Waid's beginning a new storyline in this. This is called The Promised Land. And it starts out with a flashback all about Bucky and Cap trying to stop the super soldier serum from falling into the hands of the Nazis. And then we're suddenly in the future, and these two are Steve Rogers' descendants. His father, his great-great-grandson, and his great-great-great-grandson. And the boy is sick and not doing well. And the doctors don't know what to make of it because his body isn't accepting the super soldier serum, which is now like a vaccine that all of humanity gets. And like, we're kind of living in a utopian America, which is an interesting subversion from what Waid just had done, which is a dystopian future. So this is kind of craziness. But this father is desperate to try to save his son's life, so he breaks into the facility that holds the classified information on the super soldier serum, and he uses and while he's trying to find information that will help him, he stumbles upon a revelation that the super soldier serum is not actually being used for its intended purpose. Instead, it is creating Kree sleeper soldiers, which is kind of cool. Kind of, you know, this proper intrigue and scariness, which is neat. And he's caught in the middle of that and has to go on the run because the Kree have infiltrated the top levels of government and all this stuff. So it's kind of a big, suspenseful, epic story. I'm curious how exactly Steve Rogers is going to play into this. Like, if he's going to serve a direct role through time travel, or what exactly is going to happen there. It's certainly interesting. It was a fun read. I believe we got a new artist starting now. I think that the previous guy left at issue 700, which is surprising because when you look at this, it's a similar style. Pretty minimalist, kind of iconic classic comic art, which really works. It's cool as shit. Though the flashbacks do get very different art styles going, so I quite liked those. You get a second flashback look at Steve Rogers' time in the 60s, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know, I liked it. It's fun. I'm excited to keep reading it. As long as the Waid's on it. I do plan to stick with the book once Coates takes over, so we'll get there when we get there. Everyone doing good in the comments? I feel bad for people that watch after the fact and have to see me do this. Timestamps in the description, folks. Timestamps in the description. This is what they call professionalism, though. Alright. Let's go ahead and move on to Action Comics Special #1. Lex Luthor's Dark Secret Revealed. I didn't know this was happening. And I'm kind of digging it. You know, it's 3 short stories that are complete and require basically no prior knowledge of current continuity beyond... I wouldn't say no prior knowledge, because John's here. Obviously, he's married. Superman's married to Lois. They require no detailed knowledge of current continuity. If you know that Superman has a son and wife now, if you know that Lex Luthor for a while was running around with an S shield on his chest, you'll be fine for the first story. The second 2 stories, completely continuity free. Doesn't matter at all, which is kind of cool. Aside from Lois knowing Clark is Superman, maybe? It's not even really firmly established in the second one. First story is by Dan Jurgens, which is weird because I thought he was leaving with Action 1000, but I guess he had one more story he wanted to get done. And it's about a future Lex Luthor who traveled back in time just to try to get revenge on Superman. He breaks into the Fortress of Solitude, steals Kryptonian technology, weakens Superman, blends that Kryptonian technology with his own technology, and attacks him and Lois in broad daylight in a big, giant mech. That's the story. It's, Superman ends up defeating him and saves the day, and he opens up old dude's suit, and inside is a crusty old Lex Luthor. Dan Jurgens seems to like to write these big reveal moments in his books, and he structures them well, timing them with the page turn and everything. But honestly, I saw future Lex Luthor coming from 2 miles away. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just more perceptive than Dan Jurgens thinks I am, or maybe he's just not really good at doing subtle seeding. I always talk about how comic books aren't the place for subtlety, especially superhero comics, but you don't want to overplay your hand, and I feel like Dan Jurgens really does. It's probably one of his weakest points as a writer. Is I think this is a cool idea. Old Lex Luthor travels back in time just to try to get one more fuck you into Superman. But I don't know, I saw it coming from a while away, and at the same time, his plan's kind of dumb. I mean, I think all supervillain plans end up being really dumb if you think about them for too long, but what makes this the ultimate plan to go back in time and really, really work on? Here's what he does. He steals technology from the Fortress of Solitude, combines it with Kryptonian technology to weaken Superman, attacks Lois Lane because no one's ever thought of that before, and combines his own armor with Kryptonian technology to try to kill Superman. I don't know, something about that's just, it's very, very basic. That doesn't feel like an ultimate, this is the way I'm finally going to kill Superman plot. Feels like the kind of thing Lex Luthor would come up with, when he's having an off day. When he's just not feeling it, I don't know. So that side of it I didn't really care for, but anyway. Lex has a heart attack right before his power suit explodes and he dies, and current Lex Luthor sits there and asks Superman, who is in it? What happened? I want to know. And Superman says, what difference does it make? The Abyss consumed him long ago. As far as I'm concerned, he's been dead for years. So that was a nice fuck you to Lex Luthor, which I quite enjoyed. The Last Will and Testament of Lex Luthor is the name of the story. It was cool. It was a fun story. I don't really have a ton to say about it beyond that. I enjoyed it. It was solid enough, Next story we get is Does it have a title? Probably at the end. Shit. Lost it. Come on. Supreme Est Lex. Supremist Lex? Anyway. So this is a story about Lex Luthor valuing himself so highly and thinking that he's the greatest as he goes to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where Lois Lane and Clark Kent make fun of people, and Clark Kent spends a lot of time making fun of Lex Luthor, even shows a reel of Lex Luthor's greatest failings against Superman, and shows a video of Lex Luthor eating a moon pie and throwing away the wrapper, and reveals that because of that, Lex Luthor had to go to jail for littering, since that was like his 10th violation that was unpaid. He had to go to jail for littering, and while police were searching his offices, they found evidence to convict him of a greater crime. So yeah, that was, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. You get this moment. Mr. Luthor, as the executor of your estate and family friend, I feel there's something I must say. I know you think you're smarter than everyone else, but if you ever want people to respect you, to really respect you, then you can't do this. Do what? Mistake your overconfidence for genius. Anyway, the story ends with Lex Luthor deciding that he's going to run for president because the people making fun of him don't respect him enough, so he needs that extra little bit of power. There's also this interesting line he has as he enters the White House Correspondents' Dinner that I quite liked. Where's it at? Now I am the second most powerful man in the country, and the only thing that makes the president more powerful is that little red button that could end the world. Okay, I can respect that. That's pretty solid writing. I think actually the best thing about this story is the Lex Luthor internal monologue. It has quite a few good moments and lines that I really enjoyed. Humanitarian. Here he's talking about Superman winning an award for Humanitarian of the Year. He's not even human. Why do people conflate humanity with compassion? Do they have any idea how self-congratulatory that is? How delusional? Our species mastered the earth not by our compassion but by our cunning, our readiness to sacrifice everything on the altar of ambition, to either rule the world or leave it in ashes. If you really think humanity is worth celebrating, then I humbly accept your reward. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. That was, like, the internal monologue on Luthor is strong. This is a really strongly written issue, or story. Mark Russell. It's nice. It's compact. It's totally, legible. And this is what makes him decide to run for president. I think that's kind of weird, unless you count it as a flashback. Because in the DC Nation #0 story that also came out today, there's a moment where this new reporter is trying to talk to Clark Kent. And she says, it's very nice to meet you, Mr. Kent. I loved your President Luthor expose. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Probably a situation where one hand doesn't know what the other's doing. And Bendis, being the big talent that they spent, weeks, months advertising, was coming on the books, he's probably got the authority to do whatever the fuck he feels like. Luthor's been president or hasn't. We'll see how that goes. Not sure I have much else to say about that story. The final story is called Driver's Seat, written by Max Landis, with art by Francis Manapul. Max Landis ain't a bad Superman writer. From what I hear, this story was alright. I enjoyed it. The art's the best, though. Francis Manapul just kills it. I love Francis Manapul's art. It's so... Man, I don't even know what to say about Francis Manapul's art that will have any real meaning. It just looks so solid. It looks like the kind of thing you'd hang up in a gallery. I feel like privileged to be touching it with my hands. My grubby, oily hands. And just the way he draws Superman's so cool. Like, I love that. That's a great look for him. The classic baby blue. Oof. It's beautiful. The story's kind of interesting, though. It revolves around 2 events, one of which is Superman catching a guy who invented a jetpack just to steal something because he's low on his luck, and Superman kind of tells him, alright, listen, you fucked up, I'm going to take you to the police, you're going to turn yourself in, but I'm going to store this jetpack that you invented in your garage away for you, so when you get out of jail, you can patent it, make some real money that you deserve. And then the other story that kind of ties it all together is Lois gets in a car wreck and is really sad because she'd had the car for so long and had a lot of memories attached to it. And Superman brings her car seat, her driver's seat, back on Christmas morning, I guess, or near Christmas morning. So that she can have one last ride in it as he flies her around. And this is really compelling-ass, beautiful imagery, and I quite like it. Something about Superman in a Santa Claus hat. Any DC character in a Santa Claus hat is, like, so... It is, like, the most essentially DC thing you can have. I cannot think of Marvel characters in Santa Claus hats besides maybe Spider-Man and Deadpool. Something about seeing superheroes in Santa Claus hats always really, really works for me. So I really enjoyed the last story. Max Landis, not a bad Superman writer, just wish he weren't such a prick online. That's Max Landis, so what can you do? Alright. Excuse me, folks. Gotta move the microphone real quick. Let's see here. Shadow Batman says, it's weird that they published the Max Landis one because of possible allegations, and yeah, I agree, Francis Manapul's art is fantastic. Oh, God, I don't even know what's going on with Max Landis right now. I don't even want to know, to be honest. He wrote a good Superman story, that's all I got. Damn. I hate when I do that. Just bet the edge of the book, brushing it on something. That's the second thing that happened. My DC Nation, the corner got folded because it was sitting in a bag weird. When will they make comic book covers out of cardboard? When? Alright, one more issue to go, and then we're on to trade talk. We're going to talk about Batman number 46 now. The Gift, Part 2, On the Run from the Future. So, this opens pretty strong, because in the last issue, Booster Gold goes to this alternate timeline where Bruce Wayne's parents didn't die. And he tells Bruce Wayne about it, and Bruce Wayne destroys Skeets, so Booster Gold can't go back to the future, or back and fix the timeline. And this book just opens with 1 year later. Gotham's in flames, Arkham's on fire, and Booster Gold is breaking Catwoman out of jail. And of course, Catwoman only says meow, or other cat-like things throughout the entire issue. Thomas Wayne almost dies of a heart attack. Booster Gold has a whole plan that if he can get Catwoman to meet Bruce Wayne, then they'll feel a connection of love, even though they're so far disconnected from one another. That it will allow Booster to set things right as they should be. And we get an excuse, which is a pretty cool excuse, for some really amazing Tony Daniel art. I love Tony Daniel's art. To be fair, I was reading Tony Daniel's and Grant Morrison's Batman right when I started reading monthly comics, going from the trade reading to monthly. I started with Tony Daniel, so to see Tony Daniel back on Batman is pretty kick-ass. And god damn, does he fucking kills it, y'all. I'm no fan of Batman Returns, but that is gorgeous. Holy shit, I love it. Tony Daniel fucking murdered this book. God. Like, I feel like I'm tampering with a piece of evidence. God, it's so good. Look at this. I love the detail. Look at that. Holding a dead mouse in the hands. It's got the stitched look from the Michelle Pfeiffer costume. This is beautiful work. Really, really cool how it all comes together. It's just a whole page before that of Booster Gold rambling about sewing and costumes and how fucked this timeline is. I tried to sue it, but I'm no good at suing. You know who could sue? Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle. He helped me fix his costume so many times. Or fix my costume, so many times also. I tried to find Ted to help with all of this. He could help, but turns out he was on a mission with most of the people, the super people, the Justice League, fighting Starro, bang, pow, and without Batman Batman usually had a strategy, Batman is 2 steps ahead, and without his steps, I guess, they all died. The super people, the Ted's dead. So I got to sue. And you get to look like that. Meow. Oh, killed it, Tony Daniel. Oh man, I love it. So anyway, Dick Grayson Batman keeps trying to kill Booster Gold and Catwoman. Booster Gold takes Catwoman all the way to Waid Manor to try to reignite this flame, and Catwoman serial murders the Waynes. Batman shows up and tries to kill Catwoman, and just, it's fucking chaos, and everybody is dead. Everybody, like, Batman shows up, Booster Gold gets shot, Catwoman slices off Batman's fingers, Bruce tries to shoot Bruce shoots Dick Grayson. Catwoman kills Thomas Wayne. Martha Wayne gets caught in Batman's crossfire. And Bruce Wayne, as an adult, sits among the dead bodies of his parents yet again. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, Tom King. I don't know what to do with this. Like, what the fuck is Booster Gold trying to do? This is so nuts. So yeah, this is just a... Everyone say hi to Haley in the background. And Danny. Anyway, no, this is just like... It's just a crazy fucking story of shit going wrong. It's pretty nuts, and I kind of love it, and it's kind of crazy. I will say that I do feel Tom King's very minimalist, very repetitious dialogue, which I'm most often a fan of. I don't know if it quite fits Booster Gold here. I was reading that line with the suing earlier, and like, it kind of works. I don't know, something about it just doesn't quite feel on. Like, I feel like I would be able to tell you that was Tom King writing Booster Gold if I didn't know it, you know? It feels very much Tom King and not quite like it's an actual Booster Gold thing. See, I know all of Batman's adventures. I'm a big Batman fan. Yeah, everyone's a big Batman fan, but I'm a fan from the future. And this one time, Ivy had taken over the world, and Batman found Harley, and Ivy loves Harley, so that all worked out, and the world wasn't taken over. So then, that's the solution. It should be the solution. We just have to find what Batman loves. And you're what Batman loves, so he loves you so much, he did all this stuff for you, and you for him, and he's going to marry you. Not here, over there, but here's like there, we're here, so you're here. So, we get you to Batman, and he'll see he loves you, and should marry you. Because love finds a way, and all you have is love, and love is here to stay. And there he'll see that here he can't, but there he can, he has to, or he will. Then he'll want to turn here into there, and everything is fine and good again. So that's the plan. What do you think? It's a really, I like that. It's fun, but I do feel like it's just a little too much of just the general way Tom King writes characters as opposed to feeling very, very Booster Gold. And I don't have a ton of experience reading Booster Gold, but it's just what I know of him that doesn't quite sound like his voice to me. So take that for what it's worth. Overall, good issue, though. I did enjoy it. Akuma Ranger says, I just chalked this Booster Gold of being very early in his superhero career. Fair. It's an interesting little side issue. I feel like King's really working on getting that 50th issue for the marriage thing going together. Alright. Everyone doing good in the comments? That was pretty quick through the main set of books for us, so not bad. We're getting there. Shadow Batman says, I feel that fits Batmite more than Booster. That said, I'd rather Booster Gold over Batmite unless you're Grant Morrison. Fair, but yeah, I totally that does feel more like Batmite's kind of dialogue to a degree. So, yeah, I can kind of see that more. And fair enough, if you don't like other people writing Batmite. Philip Cutton says, yeah, I'm doing good, and you? I'm alright. Like I said, I had a pretty crazy busy day. Cussed someone out because they were being fucking asshole bitch. So that was always fun. Got talked to by my manager for it, and I was like, hey, I tried 3 times just say, okay, and then they kept fucking harping on me. So, shit happens, stress gets high, folks. Stress levels high. Anyway, I'm working my way to Trade Talk. I'll get there in just a sec. It's nice to take a quick break and just, interact with you guys for a minute. Man. Everyone enjoy this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I saw that got a ton of views, so I assume the people watching probably watched it. Hope that went over well. Shadow Batman says, maybe Tom King could write a good Batmite. I don't know. I mean, why not, right? It seems plausible to me. Oh my, oh me, oh me, oh my. Alright. Shadow Batman, I'm glad you had a good day or week or whatever I said. Or, no, you enjoyed the video. That's what I was asking people about. Right. Anyway. I really wonder, because I notice I've gotten more subscribers in the last couple months. I wonder how many people are watching just for comic reviews, because I feel like you guys would really enjoy Geeky Gentleman if you give it a chance sometime. We get really deep into some stuff, and I'm more professional on that. This is just my side shit. This is my side shit that gets more views, I think, than most episodes of Geeky Gentleman get. So, I don't know. No judgment from me, except behind your backs. Okay. One more swig, and I'm getting started on Trade Talk. My blue drink. Alright. Let's go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. Today we'll be talking about JLA 1 million. Now this is interesting. This is part of Grant Morrison's Justice League run I've never read. As you can see, there's no number on the side. All the other volumes of Grant Morrison's Justice League run have a number, and it doesn't like skip a number. It's 1 through 6, I believe. This takes place right in the middle of his run. Why wouldn't you just put it in his run? It's a weird decision. It just is a very, very weird decision to make. But that's just the beginning of the problems with this collection. So this is a weird place to start on a review, because overall I quite enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty fun. But most of my complaints about it are related to the way in which it's collected. So the general premise of JLA 1 million is, what year would it conceivably be for if DC was able to continuously publish forever? What year would it be when they released their 1 millionth issue of any book? You know, Action Comics just got to issue 1000, and it's been 80 years. So how long would it take to get to issue 1 million? And so JLA 1 million is set in the DC universe of whatever year that would actually be, which is the 853rd century. And it's about the Justice League of that era, called the Justice Legion A, going back in time to gather the current JLA and bring them to the future to perform feats in celebration of the original Superman, that Superman, returning to the universe because he spent the last several centuries inside of a sun in his new Fortress of Solitude. So it's this really, really far out, weird-ass premise. It's crazy as shit. It's the perfect thing for Grant Morrison to write. It really is. Grant Morrison understands the power of myths and the power of legends and stories, and does a great job applying the idea of mythic, convoluted-ass, crazy, epic storytelling throughout time, and understanding that will always have a place in human history. But here's the thing. So at the end of the first issue, the JLA goes to this planet, or to the future, in order to perform these feats for the Justice Legion. But you get to the end of the first issue, maybe you do. You get to the end, and suddenly a bunch of the crises that the Justice League have to deal with start happening, and it's the Justice League of the present switches places with the Justice League of the future. Justice League switches places with the Justice Legion. So the Justice Legion stays in their past, our present, in order to take care of anything that may happen while the Justice League is gone. And so you get to the end of this first section, and then you just start getting stuff like this. And these happen consistently throughout the book. You'll just get these little sections. So once the Justice League leaves at the very beginning of this, it is forever and a day until they are back. Like the proper, Superman, Batman, all them. I'm trying to find the spot. Okay, here we go. From the time Superman and Batman and company leave till the time they come back. That's the section. So here we go where the Justice League is meeting the Justice Legion and talking about everything. Here's all this story that's happening in between, and here's when the Justice League that we know and love is back. All this stuff in between, it's not like there's no story happening with the Justice League we know and love in the future. We're just told it in these little summation boxes. And I'm assuming there's probably another collection out there called DC 1 Million or something like that that's meant to complement this. This is a bad collection. And DC had a lot of this back in their initial trades. There's no way around it. DC has always had trouble doing collections. I think they've gotten a lot better at it in recent years. I've heard mostly good things about the Nightfall collections. I thought the No Man's Land and Cataclysm and Road to No Man's Land collections were pretty good, though maybe could have used some more reordering. But just, man, DC used to be terrible at collections where they just, no one will pay that much for it, so we're just gonna cut some issues out and put that in another book. Why? You're getting half the story. So that's what you're really getting here, is you're getting half a review, because I only know half the story, because I really don't know what the fuck the Justice League was up to in the future. I get the general outline of it, but it's so obscure, and it loses some of its impact. But okay, on to the more positive things that I did enjoy about the book. So I just love the wacky craziness and just charmingly stupid but undeniably cool sounding ideas that get thrown out for what the Justice Legion A are and what the future's like. And so it's not just the Justice League of Earth anymore. It's the Justice League of the Sol system. Our solar system. Every planet in our solar system has been colonized by humans and aliens alike, I suppose. And they are now, leading the way. In reality, they're saving the day now. And each member of the Justice Legion is from a different planet. So I'm going to try to see if I can remember all these. Okay. So you have the Flash of the Justice Legion, who protects Mercury. You have the Wonder Woman of the Justice Legion, who's carved out of marble and whose Amazons colonized Venus. You have the Superman of the Justice Legion, who of course protects Earth. I believe... Oh, is it? Yeah, it's Our Man protects Mars. Aquaman protects Neptune. Oh, fuck. Starman has a citadel orbiting around Jupiter. And Batman is the warden of the insane asylum planet Pluto. Pluto's a planet, bitch. Because Batman 1 Million says it is. Bitch. So yeah, it's just that is so unbelievably stupid in the most beautiful comic book way possible. And I love it for that. And there's all kinds of cool stuff. The thing I love the most is the villain of this arc. Grant Morrison creates one of the most whack, crazy, over the top, what kind of villains you could possibly imagine in the form of Solaris, the sentient solar computer. And I adore Solaris for just being fucking bananas. It's insane. You get a whole issue here where one of the metal men, the metal woman, I suppose you should say, goes through and chronicles the history of the Supermen and their relation to Solaris, and like everything he's done, and it's fucking bonkers in the best possible way, and I love it to death and back. It's too cool. Platinum is the name of her. So yeah, she goes through the whole story chronicling the existence of Solaris and his constant rivalry with the House of L. And there's just like these beautiful little nuggets throughout here that crack me the fuck up, where for a time Solaris turned good after the Superman of the 553rd century went into him, reprogrammed him for good and obedience, and died in the effort. And then Solaris tried to serve humanity for a number of years and formed different super teams, trying to prove himself as just as valuable a superhero as Superman. Unlike the Superman, there was a part of Solaris champion that never seemed completely altruistic. Even so, Solaris became a very influential power. In an epoch veering towards universal paranoia and instability, he formed the Pan-Cosmic Justice Jihad, whose aggressive agenda included preemptive strikes against worlds considered potential threats to the system. Many were the supergroups formed under his auspicious, perhaps best remembered, is the Legion of Executive Familiars, whose beastly members included Solaris' Sun Dogs, Octus the 8th Dimensional Cephalopod, Wormhole, and Crypto to the 9th Power. This is fucking bananas, guys, and I love it. I love it to death. It's the best thing ever. Guys, Octus the 8th Dimensional Cephalopod. Octus the 8th Dimensional Cephalopod. Where does he come up with this shit? It is the definition of too good. We don't deserve a book this good. That's the real reason why DC didn't collect it properly. It would have been too much brilliance for your minds to handle. Oh, man. Grant Morrison is Mjolnir. I love it to death. Oh, it's so good. And then there was the other line. And what of Solaris? With the return of the Superman Prime and the spread of the Great Revival, a long age of xenophobia had ended. Public opinion gradually turned against the brutal methods of the Pan-Cosmic Justice Jihad and Solaris' reactionary agenda. I want to read that sentence again. Public opinion gradually turned against the brutal methods of the Pan-Cosmic Justice Jihad and Solaris' reactionary agenda. It's beautiful, and I love it, and it's beautiful. So anyway, the Justice League of Earth has to come up with a way to defeat Solaris, who seems to have all the cards stacked in his favor. It's kind of cool the way they talk about this. I gotta find the Huntress section. Hold on. Because I like the way that they're dealing with this problem and the way Huntress talks about it. It's kind of neat. Ah, damn it. I need to bookmark these things or something. I need to do a better job. Because I hate flipping through stuff. Okay. Solaris is immensely more powerful in our time. Your teammates will not be able to withstand his attacks. Our only hope, the system's only hope, is a time machine powerful enough for deep time travel. You underestimate the Justice League. Your people are strong and courageous, but this monster Solaris has a weapon to destroy Superman Prime and snuff out our Century's sun. He's cast plans like nets through centuries, manipulated allies across eons. All the advantages are his. Not necessarily. Wally and others will be like caveman against a jet fighter squadron. John, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Fox. Huntress? It's fighting, but it's just a different kind of fighting. I have an idea on how to save the future. And her plan is, you have nothing but time to think out every solution, every situation, and defeat Solaris, and set your traps millennia in advance. And so that's kind of what they do. The Justice League's stranded in the future, and they have to find a way to take on Solaris, and since the Green Lantern Corps hasn't been heard of in centuries, Solaris doesn't recognize Kyle Rayner's ring. Kyle's able to sneak inside Solaris, and oh god, this is too cool. He won't expect us to dare attempt this in a populated system. You have to increase his mass, destabilize his core, and create a supernova. Wait a minute, a supernova? Like the sun blowing up? Batman, no way is the ring powerful enough to hold down an exploding sun. I can't do it. Yes, you can. The ring does whatever you think, doesn't it? Trust me, Green Lantern, and think big. So Kyle adds to Solaris's mass, destabilizing him, creating the effects of a supernova, and then he fucking contains it? Which is just cool as shit. And this is the exact reason I want Grant Morrison to write Green Lantern. Because of shit like that. That's awesome. He gets help from Superman 1,000,000. But that's fucking Kyle. That's fucking Kyle right there, bro. That's fucking Kyle. But it seems too late. Because Solaris has a chunk of kryptonite, and he sends it into Earth's sun, where, if you'll remember, the original Superman Prime, has been waiting for generations to come out, and has not been exposed to kryptonite in centuries, so it is most likely going to be incredibly lethal. Solaris, as a last-ditch effort, shoots a piece of kryptonite into Earth's sun, and it looks like Superman might be dead, but, as Hunter said, the Justice League had centuries to plan this. And so, instead of kryptonite buried on Mars for Solaris' allies to find, they hid the the universe's most powerful weapon, and gave it straight to Superman Prime. A Green Lantern ring. I love it! It's so cool and perfect. This is everything I want in a ridiculous Justice League story. And this is the kind of shit the movies will never be able to do. Like, fucking movies, cartoons, no one will ever be able to pull off a story like this. This is only something you could get away with in a comic book. It's alienating as fuck. I'm almost glad I didn't read this when I was initially reading this run, because I bought Grant Morrison's Justice League before I got into monthly comics, when I was going through, standalone graphic novels and trade collections I heard were really good. And everything else in Grant Morrison's Justice League is super accessible. This is not. This is fucking whack. In the best way. You need a real appreciation of comic book, over-the-top, mythic, epic, ridiculous storytelling. And to give you a sense of what I mean by that, I want to talk about a story from Ancient Myth where Hercules diverted a river to clear a stable. Like, you had a stable that was so messy and disgusting and dirty that no man alive could ever clear it. and Hercules was given the task to clear it. And so you have to conceive of the biggest mess of a stable you can possibly conceive of, multiply that by a factor of 10, and then think of how to get rid of it. And so Hercules diverts a river, and not like digs a channel, turns the river to clear the stable. And that is the level of epic, crazy shit that you're dealing with here. And it's perfect and beautiful. One thing I skipped over, but I do really like as well, is as soon as the Justice League of the present is teleported to the future, Solaris has his plan all come together, and the character Our Man from the future has been infected with a virus that begins to spread and infect not only all of Earth, but all of Earth's people, but all of its technology as well. It's a techno-virus, spreading and causing all kinds of chaos and havoc on Earth, invading people's minds, and no one really knows what to do. And so you're left with this great moment, and I don't like Chuck Dixon very much, but he knows how to write. I'll give him it. I'll give it to him. He knows how to write well. Because I am giving Morrison a lot of credit, and Morrison wrote the best stuff in this, but you do have other stuff by other writers who I mentioned in the description. Dan Abnett, Chuck Dixon, Ron Marz, all James Robinson as well. So anyway, Batman 1,000,000 figures out what's going on, what the Our Man virus is, and he figures out how to solve the problem, because he needs to create a solar computer in order to calculate the results and get the things he needs in this time period. And so the only way to stop in order to destroy Solaris in the past, we have to create Solaris in the future. So the Justice Legion A in the DC Universe past has to create the worst enemy of human history. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff. It's so good. I love DC 1,000,000. It's too much fun. I can't believe I'd never read this before, and I'm so glad that I have now. It's cool as shit. It's just cool as shit. It's cool as shit. It's cool as shit. It's cool as shit. And I love it, and it's beautiful. And I love it because it's beautiful. There's a whole thing with Starman and this lineage thing that I don't really feel one way or another about. He betrays the Justice Legion, but then rejoins the Justice Legion because he was manipulated by Solaris, something, yada yada, dark side. The techno-virus, the Our Man virus, is actually the programming of Solaris, and so once the Justice Legion A creates Solaris, he sucks up all the techno-virus information to create his own programming, which is pretty cool. And then the Starman of the 853rd century has to sacrifice himself to get Solaris out of the system in the past, and then the Justice League of the present has to deal with Solaris in the future. There's also a story about Resurrection Man versus Vandal Savage that takes place in the future, which was kind of random as shit in here, but not bad. This is the one written by Dan Abnett. I thought it was pretty alright. You know, it was pretty cool. One thing I will say that I quite liked, just as a 3D modeler myself, these little catch-up things that tell you what's been happening in the books you're not reading in this collection come with a little piece of art that show you different planets in the future, and they did it in 3D. And so for late 90s 3D, I don't know, it's kind of cool that it made its way into a comic book. It's kind of crazy for me to look at that and go, yeah, I could probably do that. I could probably do that in, like, an afternoon. So, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. Like, I'm sure someone spent a lot of time working on that with the 1990s computers that they had, and I could probably pump that out in an hour or two. So, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. I think my favorite issue here is the Ballad of Solaris, I want to call it, where they talk about his history in relation to the Superman legacy, and I thought that was pretty cool. You get some really great art in this volume, too. I really start to like a lot of the art here. Like, particularly, look at Kyle in that. That's really good. You just get a lot of stuff that starts to work a lot better in here. Superman 1 million looks pretty cool here. I start to like a lot of this. This is beautiful. Oh, cool shit. Perfectly epic storytelling. So anyway, the rest of the Justice League go back in time, except Kyle Rayner, who stays to witness the return of Superman Prime from the Earth's sun. He recreates Lois Lane, and they get married as he's recreated Krypton. And then Green Lantern goes back to the past after getting a wink from Superman Prime, who's now in his golden form. And it's not even his final form. But yeah, this is really good. This is fun as shit. It's confusing as hell. It's just a mess and a half of convoluted, crazy, whack storytelling in comic books, and I love it. You could never do this anywhere else, and it's super fun in the best possible way, and I love it to death. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with Justice League 1 million. I do really want to go and see if I can find the just the DC Universe 1 million or whatever the other collection that's supposed to accompany any of this. I know they recently reprinted or did a recollection of Grant Morrison's Justice League run. I don't know if they did anything with 1 million within that or what the deal was. But if there's a different collection out there that does a better job collecting everything than this one, that would probably be the way to do it. I'd look up reviews and stuff, but if you find this, buy it because it's still fairly decent on its own. If you can find what I imagine has to be a companion collection of just DC 1 million, I'd suggest that. And then whenever you get to one of those catch-up pages, pages covered in ketchup, like everyone has in their comic books. Once you get to one of those, here's what happened pages, just go ahead and flip over to the other book and go back and forth like that. So, just do that. Like, here's another one of those 3D models. It's on the moon. It's of the Justice League Watchtower, which is kind of cool. Lighting's really poor in that one, though. That's a really real... They overdid it on the bump map on the moon there. 3D techno jargon for folks that care. Anyway, so yeah, if you find this, get it, and I'm assuming there's probably a DC 1 million collection to accompany it, and you just kind of have to go back and forth at catch-up points and maybe figure it out for yourself. Probably something that's more meant to have been read in issues. What can you do? Alright, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode of Comic Reviews. Thank you very much for... not Comic Reviews. This is Trade Talk. Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of Trade Talk and Comic Reviews. I had fun talking about this. This is a solid book. It's a lot of fun. Till next time, bye. How's everyone doing in the comments? Alright. Let's see here. I thought more people watch Geeky Gentleman than this, but I don't know. I can't tell. I've never read DC 1 million, but I heard Connor talk about it on GG, and I was pretty interested. I don't even remember Connor talking about that. Wow, is this connected to All-Star Superman? Solaris it was introduced and created in DC 1 million. And then Grant Morrison reused the character in All-Star Superman. Earth 2 would be great to do a trade talk on. I will consider that. Hey, Manos, thanks for joining. I remember liking the DC 1 million event when it came out. That's cool. Yeah, Manos was around for it. Hey, maybe in that century we find out no, Pluto actually is a planet. Yes, there's like something on Pluto. There's like a fucking plaque, and it's like, turns out we are a planet. Dicks. Holy crap, this is the most Grant Morrison EJLA has been. Definitely. I think Grant Morrison does drugs. You think? You think Grant Morrison does drugs? Well, you, sir, are sorely correct. Man, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Well, I'm not seeing a ton of comments or anything. I said I'd give general thoughts on Infinity War, so I'm gonna do that real quick before I sign off. I really liked Infinity War. I've seen it twice now. Thought it was a great film. Had a couple little things here and there, but nothing to really cause too much of a rub against it. I'll have to see where other people sit on Ragnarok, because I'm kind of on conflicting opinions on it, and I feel like if I have anything to say negative about Infinity War of any real significance besides how did Thor know to go to Wakanda, if I have anything truly negative to say about Infinity War, it's probably that I feel it contradicts quite a bit of the point of Thor Ragnarok, but I'm going to have to think and chew on that one a little more before I say too much else about it. That's just something kind of in my wheelhouse. Philip Kelton says that he had some problems with its humor. I've been generally having that a little bit with some of the Marvel movies. Like, I'll laugh in the theater the first time I see it, and I might laugh again every so often, but I do kind of get a little like, this joke doesn't really play that well, and it kind of undercuts the drama, and I had a lot of that in Ragnarok. Anyway. Oh, hi, Mystical Greenie Beanie. Anyway, I don't know. Thor Ragnarok, I feel, is probably the, like, just got some character arcs that are kind of reversed, and, I don't know. It's something to chew on and think about within the context of Infinity War. But otherwise, no, it's a really good movie. It's funny, I was just thinking to myself, like, a week or two ago, that Marvel has spoilers. I'm not saying anything too spoilery except Thor goes to Wakanda. It's weird that I was just thinking to myself that Marvel hasn't done a movie where the villain wins yet. And like, we haven't gotten that properly in a comic book movie, to my mind. I mean, I guess Watchmen. But yeah, just I thought that was interesting. I was just thinking about that, and then we do it. And I don't know if I'd call Thanos sympathetic, but he's close. You definitely feel some level of compassion for him, because I was also thinking that Marvel hasn't done much of a sympathetic villain. So, I don't know. Some interesting stuff there. Shadow Batman says, I mean, it depends. I do feel like Age of Ultron and Iron Man 3 suffer from the problem of humor, because I think stories are good, but humor feels intrusive. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting takes. Well, sorry, Shadow of Batman. Feel bad now. Anyway. What can you do? Well, I think that's gonna do it for comic reviews. I gave a couple little thoughts on Infinity War. Hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Bye.